Hi, Johnny Richardson here, and I just wanted to talk about a little bit of the turmoil that's going on in the marketplace, in particular the expansion of Eat, the sandwich bar chain, on one side, and then on the other side the collapse or the going into an administration of O'Brien's. At the moment we're going through our whole big Free Coffee Boys recession report, so if you haven't signed up to that, make sure you go to freecoffeeboys.com, because there's a concept in there that I talk about, which is desire and trust. And the first part of that, and the essential requirement to have desire and trust in your coffee shop, your coffee business, for it to be a success. So the first part of that is the desire. You need to watch that video to fully grasp all of that. But I thought that the as I say, Eat versus O'Brien's are a really classic and great example of how important desire is. And what you're finding a lot at the moment is that a lot of businesses like O'Brien's and Coffee Republic, which I'll deal with in another video, are going down, and they're doing that sort of wonderful thing whereby they're blaming the recession, which of course does cause some problems for all of us, but it's a very convenient thing to do. And if you do not have a desirable enough product, then you'll never make it through. So as it stands at the moment, I was reading through one of the sandwich magazines recently. I think it was Sandwich News, can't remember exactly what it was, and I was struck by the juxtaposition, which is one of my favourite words, of the two pages. One was, Eat expands in London with 3 new units. Okay, so basically the gist of it is Eat sandwiches are expanding in London. They're new rents, and they're paying 120 grand for one of their units, 90 grand for another. You know, it's expensive sites. On the flip side, you've got O'Brien's sandwiches. Oh, I can't read it the wrong way around. O'Brien's sandwich bars UK go into administration. Now, the reason why this is of so much interest to me is that I tend to do quite a lot of work in Glasgow at the moment. I'm going through Glasgow Airport on a regular basis. On one side of Glasgow Airport, you have an O'Brien's sandwich bar. On the other side, you have a newly opened Eat. And the O'Brien's sandwich bar is tired. The folk working behind it really have, it would be fair to say, not shown a tremendous amount of interest in having us as customers to go into it. And for a long period of time, Hugo and I used to walk past it and laugh each week when we would see that the coffee machine still wasn't working. So they had this handwritten sign up saying, sorry, coffee machine isn't working. I don't know whether they were able to do that. I think they were just doing instant coffee or something horrendous like that. But every week we would go past and it still wasn't working. And I can't find the pictures of it. If Hugo has them, we'll post them up. But, you know, it became this running joke, and we would joke with the folk behind the counter, was nobody still coming along to try and fix the thing. Now, that's an expensive site. Recession or not, you know, you kind of need to have your machine working. You need to have a desirable product to get people to want to buy. So it's very easy to blame the recession and say the economic factors or rents or so on. But if you can't be bothered to fix your equipment, or you can't be bothered to have a good product there, then you're never going to survive, recession or not. On the flip side of it, the Eat, which I think is the first one they've opened in Glasgow, on the other side of the airport, as I say, is fantastically busy, and the products that they have in there are incredibly desirable. So it's a very simple thing, this. It's kind of one of these things that we sometimes struggle to fully grasp. But Eat are expanding because they've got a very desirable product. They've got delicious food, and you know, a good coffee, and they're working their way through it. The staff are good, they're well trained, it's a pleasant environment, it's a desirable place to be. Without putting my sort of coffee guru hat on, as a customer, I want to be an Eat. The O'Brien's is a joke. And the same thing, I've been in several O'Brien's over the last 2 or 3 years, and felt nothing other than sort of, well, you know, I happen to be very hungry, there happens to be one here, I'll go in and I'll get a sort of a fairly mediocre sandwich made for me. Nothing to do with the recession. This is to do with creating something incredibly desirable that people want to buy. Eat, and you'll keep going through the recession, or do something mediocre and you'll collapse. It's a really harsh lesson, and I say that within the context of having had my own sandwich business collapse. So, you know, I'm aware, I understand how this all works. I understand how easy it is to blame these factors. But this, O'Brien's and Coffee Republic, is the first of a few of these who have spent the last 10 or 15 years working in a mediocre fashion, and then suddenly when things get a wee bit tough, sorry,